enemies. I ain't got no issues. I don't want no enemies. I don't want no issues. I just want peace. I just want joy, and I just want freedom. I love my freedom.
There's two reasons why a man leaves his wife or files for divorce. Number one is another woman pushing him to do it, okay? Or number two is...
Tonight's headline is setting timelines on fire. But remember, we're talking about swirling reports and unverified chatter, not confirmed facts. Across blogs, blind items, and late-night DMs, a shocking claim is spreading. That Jeezy has finally snapped and, in a blaze of heartbreak and resolve, allegedly let loose the real reason behind his divorce from Jeannie Mai. Whispers of an alleged, raw Jeannie and Mario Lopez tape said to be floating on the dark web. We cannot confirm this, and we are not saying it's real. What we can say is that fans are shocked. Emotions ran high the moment those rumors hit, and the internet's already picking sides before the truth is even clear. Here's the mood. A calm, post-marriage Jeezy talking about peace and freedom, while rumors paint a very different backstage. A picture of two public darlings now caught in a storm they never saw coming. Family group chats buzzing. Industry friends going silent. Comment sections exploding with, "Say it ain't so." Is this a bitter game of optics? A carefully timed leak? Or just the internet doing what the internet does best, turning smoke into a blaze? Grab your tea. We're walking you through the claims, the timelines, the reactions, and what this could mean if any of it turns out to be true. The story begins quietly, the kind of quiet that hides a storm behind it. Jeezy had been seen in interviews smiling, calm, talking about peace and freedom like a man finally breathing after years of holding his breath. His fans thought
the moment it hit.
Peace. I'm all about understanding. I'm all about what's best for everybody.
Yeah.
The greater good. And it just like, I'm just telling you, like my life, I tell myself this every day, like, man, this is amazing. I don't got no enemies, I ain't got no issues, I don't want no enemies, I don't want no issues, I just want peace, I just want joy, and I just want freedom. I love my freedom. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love it. Like, you just talked about, I came up here independently, I just called, like, I'm coming to the Breakfast Club. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gotta check in, I ain't gotta talk to no label, I ain't gotta do nothing. Shout out to Def Jam, love y'all. But it's just like, freedom and ownership is everything. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're talking art, you're talking culture, you're talking your mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've worked hard my whole life. This is a season of me. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting myself first.
fans thought he was simply moving on from a marriage that had run its course. But behind that calm tone and soft laughter, something far darker was stirring. The internet, always hungry for drama, began whispering that Jeezy's piece wasn't just emotional, it was strategic. According to unconfirmed chatter, he had discovered something that changed everything he thought he knew about his marriage to Jeannie Mai. For weeks, fans noticed the shift. Jeezy, once proud to post family moments, had gone silent. Jeannie, who had built a brand around openness and love, seemed suddenly careful with her words, as if every caption was written under pressure. What neither of them said publicly began to matter more than what they did. Then, out of nowhere, an anonymous source started claiming that Jeezy had proof of betrayal. Proof so explosive that Hollywood's gossip ecosystem froze for a second. In those claims, there were hints about another man, someone who wasn't just famous but also close to Jeannie through work. The name Mario Lopez slipped into conversations like a ghost. Never confirmed, but whispered everywhere. Commentators started connecting dots that may or may not have existed. There were clips of old interviews where Jeannie and Mario seemed too friendly, behind-the-scenes moments where their laughter stretched a bit too long, and episodes that fans rewatched with new eyes. One clip in particular resurfaced, Mario cradling Jeannie and Jeezy's daughter on set. A harmless gesture at the time, but now replayed with suspicious commentary online. People started editing videos side by side, trying to find a hidden story.
Loved black guys, yeah. I did. But for me, dark meat on the side, white keeps me mean and lean, you know? That's why I married white man. That's what I like.
Hold up. What do you mean, dark meat on the side?
Because she lightweight offensive. I am
No,
going
I'm not. I'm saying, like, I really do think black men are attractive. I do. Like, that's my...
Well, what do you mean, dark meat on the side?
That means, honey. You know what that means.
Wait, what are you reading it as?
Ain't nobody, how did you say it?
I'm just saying, like, when I think about men, I like dark men. I do.
Right, you like your main man to be white and your side piece to be dark.
That is not what I mean.
Jeannie, explain what you mean.
Okay,
what
I meant is, like, I used to date black men. Okay, I think they're attractive. But what I decided to stick to, because it just kept me happiest, was my man Freddie, who happens to be white.
Are you sure?
Yes!
Story in their smiles. While the gossip spread, Jeezy was said to be dealing with heartbreak behind closed doors. Friends reportedly described him as silent, but not broken. He didn't rant or lash out. He simply moved with intention. One insider told a podcast that Jeezy had quietly gone through Jeannie's phone and found messages that no husband should ever read. Allegedly, there were texts between her and Mario that crossed the line from professional to personal. According to that same source, Jeezy was still willing to forgive. But when he received a mysterious package containing private recordings, everything inside him changed. The details of that claim are murky. No one has verified what was in that package, but just the idea of it was enough to set the internet. Ablaze blogs began running headlines about a so-called tape, supposedly showing Jeannie and Mario in intimate situations. None of the major outlets confirmed it, but that didn't stop the rumor mill from spinning. Memes exploded. Fan pages split into camps. Team Jeezy versus Team Jeannie.
For the longest time.
And he's saying it for me.
But he's never said any. He's never said anything.
No, I've heard him say to people, I wouldn't mind having children, and I do love children. I know, it's a little.
Wanna, you know, come on, you can put one out for him.
Lonnie, Lonnie, no.
One's not gonna hurt. We'll help you take care of it. We'll give it to Aiden. Aiden will help.
Jeannie. Some said Jeezy was finally exposing the truth. Others accused him of revenge. A few voices, calmer than the rest, reminded everyone that none of this had been proven. But in an age of virality, reason is often the quietest sound in the room. In the middle of the noise, Jeezy appeared on The Breakfast Club. That's where everything seemed to click. He didn't look angry or bitter. Instead, he looked relieved. When asked about the divorce, he simply said, "I just want peace. I just want joy. I just want freedom." It was a short statement, but one that carried a strange kind of weight. The audience could feel that something final had happened. People clipped that segment and shared it thousands of times with captions like, "That's a man who's seen the truth." The way he said, "I love my freedom," felt less like a quote and more like a confession wrapped in calm. Meanwhile, Jeannie stayed mostly silent. Her team released polite, vague statements about privacy and respect during difficult times. But her absence on social media spoke louder than any press release. She stopped posting pictures of her daughter, stopped engaging with fans, and avoided public appearances. Insiders whispered that she was in panic mode. Some said she was trying to contain the damage. Others claimed she was devastated by the betrayal being pinned on her. What everyone agreed on was that Jeannie Mai, the woman who once thrived on being transparent, had gone completely quiet. Friends close to the couple began revealing small pieces of what they knew, though no one dared to go on record. One mentioned that the marriage had been rocky long before the public ever knew. Jeannie and Jeezy reportedly argued about lifestyle differences, parenting decisions, and trust issues that had been simmering under the surface. There were also whispers that Jeannie's old comments about race and relationships had become a point of tension. Jeezy's fans had never forgotten the time she said she liked dark meat on the side. And after the divorce, that clip resurfaced with brutal timing. Comment sections filled up with people claiming they saw this coming, saying that Jeannie never respected Jeezy's world in the first place. As the tension escalated, some claimed that Jeannie began trying to rebuild her public image, showing herself as the hurt party. She allegedly told close friends that she was blindsided by the divorce filing and that Jeezy's calmness was just a mask hiding his cruelty. She even shared a photo of an injured foot, suggesting she'd been hurt during an argument. Though again, none of these claims were verified, but those images spread online like wildfire. Viewers debated every detail, every bruise, every caption. The narrative shifted overnight from Jeezy the victim to Jeezy the villain. Jeezy's response was swift but controlled. He issued a public statement through a media outlet saying that the allegations were false, deeply disturbing, and a malicious attempt to destroy my character. He emphasized that his only focus was their daughter, and that he was fighting for joint custody. The words, "the truth will prevail," became the phrase fans repeated across social media. Those close to him said he had no interest in mudslinging, but privately they hinted that he was prepared for whatever came next. Jeannie's side, on the other hand, was falling apart. Producers from the networks she worked with reportedly called emergency meetings, concerned that the rumors about Mario Lopez could damage reputations beyond repair. Publicists were scrambling to control the narrative, sending emails to gossip sites asking them to take down unverified posts. But by then, the internet had already taken over. Fans were dissecting years of red carpet photos, comparing body language between Jeannie and Jeezy versus Jeannie and Mario. Even their smiles became evidence in this digital trial. The craziest twist came when an old clip from Tamar Braxton resurfaced. In it, Tamar had said there are only two reasons a man leaves his wife. Either another woman pushed him to do it, or something really foul went down. Viewers replayed that clip next to Jeezy's interviews, claiming Tamar had predicted everything. Tamar herself even liked a few shady tweets, which only fueled the fire. Suddenly, it wasn't just about a marriage, it was about betrayal, race, power, and pride. Every celebrity talk show was picking sides. Every gossip blog had its exclusive sources, and fans were drowning in speculation. Through it all, Jeezy stayed silent. No rants, no social media battles. His calmness became a new kind of statement. And that's what made people uneasy. Because silence in the middle of chaos often means someone's already won the war. The silence didn't calm anything down. If anything, it made the rumors louder. Every hour, new sources appeared online with fresh claims, and the story grew more tangled than ever. One post would say, Jeezy had leaked the alleged video out of heartbreak. Another would insist he was being framed by someone who wanted revenge. On Twitter, people began arguing whether the supposed tape even existed. Fans scrolled endlessly, trying to decide what was fact and what was fiction. It was like watching a digital wildfire spread with no one able to stop it. Jeannie's team, meanwhile, was in full crisis mode. Her publicist reportedly held late-night meetings, drafting statements that never made it to the press. A few journalists claimed they'd been warned about defamation suits if they published unverified content. Still, that didn't stop the gossip. Fans were too invested. Every silence, every word, every missing post became fuel for speculation. Jeannie's closest friends tried to protect her image, saying she was focused on her child and trying to heal. But insiders painted a different picture. One of them allegedly told a podcast that Jeannie was spiraling, crying nonstop, terrified that her career would never recover if people believed even half of what was being said. The pressure became unbearable. TV producers reportedly started distancing themselves. One daytime show quietly removed a rerun featuring her segment, and a brand partnership she had been promoting suddenly went quiet. Online, fans noticed. The comments were brutal. "This is what happens when you play with people's hearts," one wrote. Another said, "Jeannie built her image on love and light. Now look at her brand." Still, a loyal group defended her, saying that everyone deserves privacy, that no one really knows what happens behind closed doors. But behind those closed doors, things were getting worse. According to whispers from insiders, Jeezy and Jeannie had reached a point where even their lawyers refused to let them speak directly. Everything went through legal teams. Jeezy, calm in public, was reportedly relentless in private, determined to secure joint custody and hold his ground. People close to him said he felt betrayed not only as a husband but as a father. That, they claimed, was the wound that cut the deepest. Then came another twist that sent everyone reeling. Someone online shared screenshots of messages that looked like they were between Jeannie and Mario. The tone was flirty, filled with private jokes and inside references. But within hours, others pointed out inconsistencies. The dates didn't match, the language seemed off, and some claimed the screenshots were fake. Still, it didn't matter. Once those images hit social media, the damage was done. Fans didn't care about proof. They cared about drama. The comments exploded with disbelief, anger, and heartbreak. "This can't be real," wrote one. "If it is, she's finished," said another. Jeezy stayed quiet again. No denial, no confirmation, just silence. And that silence became the loudest headline. Blogs wrote, "Jeezy refuses to speak," and talk shows dissected his every gesture, reading meaning into things that might not have meant anything at all. A simple picture of him walking into a studio in a black hoodie sparked thousands of captions like, "Man on a mission." Every step became a metaphor. At the same time, Jeannie's mother was reportedly devastated. Sources said she called Jeezy directly, begging him not to ruin her daughter publicly, saying that whatever had happened, they could fix it privately. Some claim he didn't respond. Others say he told her calmly, "It's too late." That single sentence began circulating like gospel among gossip accounts. It painted a picture of a man done with the past, ready to burn bridges if it meant peace. The situation reached a breaking point when Jeannie's team allegedly threatened legal action against anyone claiming the tape was real. The statement was cautious, never confirming or denying anything directly, just saying that private, manipulated content was circulating and that her lawyers were investigating the matter. That only fueled speculation. People took it as indirect confirmation. Conspiracy threads popped up overnight, filled with timelines, photos, and analysis of supposed evidence. Even Mario Lopez, who had stayed silent through it all, suddenly found himself trending. His comment section was flooded with thousands of messages asking if the rumors were true. Some fans remembered how close Mario and Jeannie had been on set. Inside jokes, lingering touches, that effortless chemistry. Now those same moments looked suspicious under the new light. Clips of them laughing together were recut into dramatic montages set to sad music. And just like that, Mario went from beloved host to alleged accomplice in a scandal no one could prove existed. Amid all this, Tamar Braxton's old comment about 2 reasons a man leaves his wife came back into circulation, turning into a meme, then into a rallying cry. "Something foul went down," she had said, and people repeated those words like prophecy. It didn't help that Tamar liked a few tweets that hinted she believed Jeezy's side of the story. Tabloids began calling it the Tamar prophecy. Other celebrities quietly weighed in, posting cryptic quotes about karma, loyalty, and betrayal without naming anyone. The industry was buzzing, even if no one wanted to admit they were watching closely. While the public argued online, people who had once called Jeannie a friend began pulling back. Invitations stopped. Her name was suddenly missing from upcoming panels and collaborations. She had spent years building a career on positivity and self-love, but now her silence looked like guilt to some. Behind the scenes, those who still supported her said she was barely holding it together, torn between fighting back and disappearing entirely. On the other hand, Jeezy was slowly rebuilding his image. He was spotted at community events, doing interviews where he talked about fatherhood, peace, and accountability. His demeanor was so calm it unnerved people. It was as if he had already accepted everything that had happened and moved on. But his words carried a certain finality, the kind that suggested he had seen enough to never look back. One fan tweeted, "Jeezy's not angry because he already won." That post alone got hundreds of thousands of likes. As weeks passed, fans noticed one small detail. Jeezy's lawyer quietly updated court filings. He was no longer just asking for joint custody. He was seeking primary custody. It shocked everyone. It meant he believed he could prove something serious in court, something that would make him the more stable parent. Rumors immediately tied that move to the alleged recordings, suggesting that he might use them as evidence, even though no one knew if they really existed. The internet devoured every update, every theory, every whisper. Jeannie's camp went silent again. No new photos, no interviews, no quotes. Mario stopped posting too. Their silence became the biggest story of all. And the world waited, caught between curiosity and disbelief, wondering if anyone would ever actually break and tell the truth. Weeks turned into months, and yet the tension around Jeezy and Jeannie refused to die down. Every new rumor felt like another spark tossed into a pile of dry leaves. At first, people thought it would fade like most celebrity scandals do, but this one only grew heavier, more complicated, and somehow more personal. Fans began describing it as less of a breakup and more of a full-blown saga, something that peeled back the polished veneer of Hollywood relationships and revealed the messy emotions beneath. By now, Jeannie's public silence had turned eerie. Her once bustling Instagram page was practically deserted. The comments under old posts were flooded with both sympathy and venom. "We don't know the truth, but something feels off," one follower wrote. Another replied, "She built her brand on honesty, so why go quiet now?" For a woman whose life had always been an open book, that silence became a headline all on its own. Inside sources began painting a picture of isolation. Jeannie was reportedly holed up at her home, surrounded only by her mother and a few loyal staff members. The laughter and sparkle that once defined her image were gone. Every call from her agent or publicist carried bad news. Partnerships on hold, collaborations postponed, producers backing out. Even longtime fans were unsure what to believe anymore. But then, just as everyone thought things couldn't get worse, a new story broke. A small gossip blog claimed that someone had tried to sell alleged footage to a private collector on the dark web. Again, no evidence surfaced, but the claim alone was enough to light up social media. The words "alleged tape" and "Jeannie" trended together for 3 days straight. The article said the footage was highly compromising and connected to a well-known TV personality. The blog was taken down within hours, but screenshots had already gone viral. Fans demanded answers. Others begged for everyone to stop spreading unverified stories. But by then, the damage was already done. Jeezy, meanwhile, was moving differently. While Jeannie hid, he seemed to be thriving. He appeared at events smiling, greeting fans, shaking hands with politicians, and attending charity galas. Every public outing felt like a silent message. He was unbothered. His calmness contrasted sharply with the chaos swirling around Jeannie, and that only made people more suspicious. How can he be this peaceful unless he knows he was right? Fans asked in comments under his posts. One photo of him at a community fundraiser holding his daughter's hand went viral with the caption, "Unbothered energy." In interviews, Jeezy's tone remained the same, measured, mature, and careful. When asked about his divorce, he simply said, "I wish her peace." Those 3 words became the quote of the week. People dissected them like poetry, wondering if it was a sign of forgiveness or a quiet declaration that he'd already won the narrative. Every entertainment show played that clip over and over again. His calm smile contrasted perfectly against the storm of rumors. But inside, things weren't as peaceful as they looked. Close friends said Jeezy was still deeply hurt. Betrayal, even when buried under composure, leaves scars. He reportedly spent long nights talking to his lawyers, making sure his daughter's future was secure. The custody battle was heating up, and according to insiders, Jeezy was ready to bring everything to the courtroom. Whispers spread that he had more evidence than anyone realized. Though, as always, nothing was verified. Still, that hint was enough to reignite all the speculation about the mysterious tape. Jeannie, on the other hand, was said to be breaking down emotionally. Her friends described her as exhausted, defeated, and scared. One alleged insider claimed she would stay up all night scrolling through comments, reading every hateful message directed at her. She reportedly told a friend, "They think I'm a villain, but they don't even know half the story." Some suggested that she was planning a tell-all interview, but her legal team advised her to stay silent until the court proceedings ended. That silence, however, was destroying her. The entertainment world began turning her downfall into a debate. Was she a victim of a smear campaign, or had she simply been caught in her own contradictions? Old interviews resurfaced, old comments replayed, and fans began seeing patterns they'd ignored before. One viral thread laid out a timeline of foreshadowing, connecting her old remarks about preferring white men long-term with her sudden change after meeting Jeezy. The thread went viral not because people believed every detail, but because it told a story they wanted to believe, that even the most perfect love stories could crumble when built on pretense. Amid all this, Mario Lopez finally broke his silence, though indirectly. He posted a vague message on his story. "Don't believe everything you hear." There was no mention of Jeannie, no acknowledgement of the rumors, but everyone knew what it was about. That one line set off another explosion of debates online. Fans began analyzing his expression, his tone, even his choice of emoji. Was it denial or arrogance? Some defended him fiercely, pointing out that he'd always been professional and kind. Others said the post felt like damage control. Behind the scenes, Jeezy's lawyers were reportedly collecting digital records, emails, call logs, photos, anything that might strengthen his custody claim. No one outside the case knew what they found, but the idea that they were building a quiet arsenal of evidence added to the suspense. Even gossip channels started treating the story like a slow-burning thriller. They didn't need proof anymore. They had drama. And then came the moment that felt like the calm before another storm. Jeannie was spotted for the first time in weeks, leaving a private therapist's office with her mother. She looked tired, pale, her usual glam completely gone. The paparazzi photos went viral instantly. The captions ranged from sympathetic to cruel. "She looks broken," one said. "Karma hits hard," said another. The world that once adored her now dissected her pain like a spectacle. The emotional contrast between the two exes was impossible to ignore. Jeezy seemed composed, moving forward. Jeannie looked lost, haunted by the weight of everything falling apart. Even though no one knew the truth, public perception had already chosen a winner. Jeezy became the calm, wronged husband. Jeannie, the woman whose silence seemed to confirm everything. But deep down, both were living in the shadow of the same unanswered question. Was there really a tape? Or had the entire world been fooled by whispers and half-truths? That uncertainty, that lingering doubt, became the hook that kept everyone watching. And even though no proof had surfaced, the idea of it lingered like smoke after a fire. Every time the story began to fade, someone somewhere would post, "Whatever happened with Jeezy and Jeannie?" And instantly, the flames reignited. For Jeezy, this wasn't just about clearing his name anymore. It had become a fight for identity, for peace, and for control over a narrative he never asked to star in. For Jeannie, it was about survival, of her career, her reputation, and her self-worth. And somewhere in between, the world watched, unsure whether they were witnessing justice or tragedy unfold in slow motion. Time moved forward, but the tension between Jeezy and Jeannie hung in the air like humidity before a storm. Fans were exhausted, yet they couldn't look away. Every week brought a new whisper, another exclusive source, or some blurry screenshot claiming to prove something. The truth, whatever it was, had long been buried under the weight of perception. Jeezy was now operating like a man who had made peace with chaos. He no longer reacted to headlines, no longer offered statements. Instead, he let his silence do the talking. And somehow that silence grew louder with every passing day. In interviews, he spoke about fatherhood, growth, and mental health. He smiled often, laughed easily, but behind those moments of calm, people sensed something hardened, a quiet pain that had turned into resilience. Jeannie, on the other hand, had become almost unrecognizable to those who knew her public persona. The radiant TV host with endless energy had vanished. She was still fighting legally, still protecting her image, but emotionally she seemed drained. Those close to her described her as someone trying to rebuild from ashes. She was said to be working with crisis managers and therapists, spending long hours away from social media, avoiding the online chaos that used to be her stage. Then came what many described as the breaking point. One night, an anonymous account uploaded a short, heavily blurred clip that it claimed was from the rumored tape. Within minutes, it spread like wildfire even though it was impossible to tell who was in it. Some said the figures didn't even resemble Jeannie or Mario. Others insisted it was obviously them. The clip was taken down within hours, but the damage was instant. Media outlets refused to touch it, labeling it unverified and possibly manipulated. Yet the narrative took its own path online. Fans started quoting it like fact. The line between truth and rumor vanished completely. For Jeannie, it was devastating. According to reports, she broke down when she heard the clip was circulating. Insiders claimed she locked herself in her home, refusing to talk to anyone except her legal team. There were even whispers that she considered leaving Los Angeles altogether, feeling betrayed by an industry that once celebrated her. Her mother, who had always been her pillar, was seen accompanying her everywhere, worried and protective. Jeezy's camp stayed silent, issuing only one carefully worded statement through his lawyer, reminding the public that leaked, manipulated material is often used to harm innocent people, and urging everyone not to share or engage with it. That single line shifted the mood. Some fans began to wonder if the entire scandal had been a setup, a cruel social experiment gone too far. Others still believed Jeezy was protecting his dignity by staying calm. No one knew the truth, and that uncertainty was the cruelest part of it all. As the storm raged, Tamar Braxton's old comment returned to circulation again, this time with a new edge. "Something real foul went down," she had said months before. People started wondering if she'd known more than she'd admitted. Some even accused her of being a messenger for Jeezy's side, though she never confirmed or denied anything. Still, her words became the unofficial tagline of the saga, echoing through fan pages and gossip forums like a prophecy. In court, things took another dramatic turn. While most documents remained sealed, leaks suggested that Jeezy's request for primary custody had gained traction. The reasoning wasn't clear, but fans speculated endlessly. One outlet claimed the judge was concerned about public image stability. Another said it was due to emotional distress in the household. The details didn't matter to the public, only the headline did. "Jeezy wins first major custody step," read one post that instantly trended. The comments filled up with cheers from supporters and despair from Jeannie's fans. By then, Mario had completely disappeared from the spotlight. His show continued, but his social media accounts were ghost towns. Colleagues avoided bringing up the topic, afraid of being dragged into the chaos. His silence was taken as guilt by some, self-preservation by others. But either way, his reputation had been hit. Fans who once adored his charm now looked at him with suspicion, as if he'd walked into a scandal that could never be undone. For Jeezy, the win in court brought bittersweet relief. He was seen leaving the courthouse with a calm smile, holding a coffee cup and wearing a hoodie pulled low over his face. The paparazzi shouted questions about the alleged tape, about Jeannie, about his daughter. He said nothing. He just nodded, got into his car and drove off. That image of him leaving quietly became symbolic. It was shared thousands of times with captions like, "He said his piece and walked away." Jeannie eventually returned to social media, but it was different this time. No glam shots, no red carpet photos, just a black and white post with the words, "Still healing, still learning." Comments poured in, some kind, some cruel, all emotional. People wanted closure, but there was none to give. She didn't explain, didn't defend herself, didn't address any rumor. She simply wrote that she was focusing on her daughter and her mental health. It was the first time in months that her tone sounded human again. As for Jeezy, his piece seemed real now. He stopped referencing the past, stopped hinting at pain. His interviews became lighter, his projects more meaningful. He launched a mentorship program for young artists and started speaking publicly about boundaries, self-worth, and rebuilding after betrayal. Fans praised his growth, calling him the picture of strength. Yet, beneath that calm exterior, some said he still carried quiet sorrow, the kind that never fully leaves but teaches you how to live differently. In the end, no one ever confirmed whether the tape existed. Maybe it was real. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just the internet's collective imagination turned into a nightmare. But what was undeniable was the impact. The collapse of a once-loved couple, the careers shaken, the fans divided, and the lesson carved deep into Hollywood's memory. When private love becomes public property, everyone loses a little of their soul. The story faded from headlines, but never from memory. Every few months, someone would tweet a throwback clip of Jeezy saying, "I just want peace," and it would go viral again, reminding people of the calm that followed chaos. Jeannie kept her head down, raising her daughter quietly, far from the noise. Jeezy kept working, building, moving forward. Two people who had once smiled for cameras now lived in separate worlds, connected only by the ghost of a story that may have never been true, but felt real enough to destroy them both. And that's where the story stands, tangled in mystery, emotion, and endless speculation. No one really knows what happened behind those closed doors, and maybe no one ever will. But what we do know is that both Jeezy and Jeannie walked through a storm that left their lives, careers, and fans forever changed. One side found peace in silence, the other found strength in survival. The rest of us are just left wondering if the truth is buried beneath the noise, or if the noise itself became the truth. So what do you think? Was Jeezy really pushed to his breaking point? Or is this all a massive misunderstanding blown out of proportion by the internet? Were those leaks part of a plan, or just a cruel twist of timing? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because we want to hear what you believe. If you made it this far, make sure to hit that like button to help the video reach more people. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the wild world of celebrity drama, secrets, and scandals. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Because in Hollywood, peace is temporary, and truth is always up for debate. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and remember, not everything trending is what it seems.